Well, if you've got a Bible, go ahead and open it with me to the book of Philippians, which is in the New Testament. We are starting a new series this morning, and your pastor is away. He is on vacation, spending some time with his family, and so I get the opportunity to start a new series on the book of Philippians, and we'll be in the book of Philippians through the rest of the summer. So it's going to be a great study. The church at Philippi, which was who the Philippians are, the church at Philippi has so much in common with us as Americans. And so this is going to be a very, very important series for us. And just to start things off, last week, it was kind of my turn to take a vacation. So last week, Corey and I went to Cape Canaveral and saw the Space Shuttle Atlantis take off. And if you've never done that, you've got 2 more times. I think the Discovery is going to take off in September, and then the Endeavor in November. I may have that backwards. I'm not real sure. And so you've got 2 more chances to see the shuttle take off from Cape Canaveral. An amazing sight to behold. And we're 10 miles away, which is about as close as you can get, but you can still feel the thing as it takes off, and then about 30 seconds later, here comes the sound wave. It just rumbles. It's like this low, thundering, gurgling sound. I mean, it's just powerful. I mean, it's just something that makes you proud of your country, really. And as I thought about it, what an amazing technological marvel that we have in the space shuttle. And that got me thinking about all the things in our country that we really take for granted, but we have an amazing country. I mean, think of the technology that we have at our disposal that no one else has ever had in the history of the planet that is at our fingertips. We have instant communication. I can pull out my phone right now and tell you what's going on in India right this second. I can text people. I can talk to people around the world. We have access to health care at an unprecedented rate. We have access to educational advancement. Anyone, no matter your ethnicity, no matter the color of your skin, anyone can move forward from their poverty level. It doesn't matter if you were born rich or poor. We live in a society where you can, through hard work and determination and education, you can move yourself up that ladder and be somebody in society. We don't really have a class system like the caste system in India. We don't have one of those systems where you're born into this caste or this class and you can't get out of there. You're stuck there for the rest of your life. No, you can work yourself out of that class. You can work yourself into a higher bracket. We have so many good things in our country. And listen, I know we're not perfect. I know we got our concerns. I know we got some troubles going on right now. And you have your fears and I have my fears for the future. But come on, even with all those things that are going on, recession this, economy that, even with that happening, man, this is still a great place to live. And people they are breaking laws to try to get into our country to live here. Even though we're in a pretty difficult recession right now, it is still the place to be. It is the place that people want to live in. And if we were given the choice to live in any country of any time period, I would probably stick with where I'm at. I kind of like where God put me. I kind of like being born where I was. I kind of like being born with the time period I was. I got no complaints with that, so way to go, God, on that one. So great opportunity for us who are born into this country. Now, if you think about it, throughout history, no one has access to food the way we do. We can go to a market and get meat that's already frozen and well taken care of for us. No one has transportation like we do throughout history, where we can jump in a car and be on the other side of the country in a day. Or we can jump in an airplane and be on the other side of the world today. I mean, that is just mind-boggling that anyone can earn an income to take care of themselves in our society, in our culture. And as great as our culture is, and as amazing as those technological marvels are, as much as we love being Americans, as much as we love our country, with all those things, spiritually speaking, when it comes to my relationship with my Heavenly Father and your relationship with your Heavenly Father, our culture, the goodness that's in our culture can actually be a place that is a danger to live in. Now let me explain this. Spiritually speaking, it can poison us. That we live in such a wealthy, such a great place to live, it can actually be a poison to our soul. Now let me explain this. How? Because of this. When I have all that I need, when everything I need is at my disposal, I've got everything I need, why do I need God? Now, we would never come right out and say that. We would never come out and say, I don't need you, God. I got a good, stable income. But we can tend to live like that. We can tend to say, with all the things at my disposal, all the great things here, I really don't need God unless two things happen. Unless, A, something bad happens and I need Him to come and fix things or make things better. Or B, maybe I want something more. And so, God, I'll maybe bargain with God. And God, I'll start reading my Bible more if you do this for me. And maybe I'll start being a better person. God, here's the list of things that I would like from you. Here's the list of things that I'm going to do for you. We can make a good little trade-off here and we can make it happen, God, just like that. And then if God cleans up our mess or He gives us what we want, then we just kind of push Him back and say, all right, God, you just remain. Let me take care of my life from here on out, and I'll ring the bell when I need you for something else. And we kind of use God just kind of like an ATM machine where we just kind of need Him at the time we need Him. And that's the problem with living in such a great place, is we can tend to rely on our stuff and our country instead of the God who is our provider. We would never say that, but I've got my friends, I've got my family, I got popularity, I got a good job, I got a 401k, I got whatever, and those things are enough for me, right? I mean, I'm good, I'm happy with those things. And so that's the tension that we're going to be dealing with in this series. That's the tension, that we live in such a great place, and yeah, you've got your complaints about the country, and I've got mine, but you know what? By and large, throughout history, we live in a pretty good place. But on the other hand, it can be actually damaging to our soul if we're not careful. And so, the reason we're looking at the book of Philippians is because the church at Philippi lived in a city very similar to a place like ours. They were on a smaller scale, of course. They were not the empire that we are, but they were on a smaller scale. They had wealth in their city. It was a good place to live. So in this series, we're going to look at this letter and look at it as though it could be a letter addressed to us, the church at Jackson Way. And so this is going to be very applicable to us where we are as a church. Now let me explain Philippi to you so you can see some of the similarities between America and Philippi. Philippi started out as a very small town. It was just kind of one of those towns that was just maybe like a blinking light and a stop sign and a chevron with a subway connected to it. That was one of those towns. That constituted the town. It was small, and then the next thing you know, the Roman Empire starts to take control of the world and of the Mediterranean area, and Philippi sat in a very strategic area. It was a it had a port. It was kind of the gateway from Asia into Europe and Europe into Asia, and so it sat in a strategic place, and so it grew. As Roman society grew, it grew. It became one of those cities that, instead of the stop sign, take the stop sign down, now we got a red light. We got a real red light here. And next thing you know, a factory comes in, and now we got some jobs, and lo and behold, a Walmart pops up. We have arrived. Hello, we are a city now. Walmart is here. And now Walmart, with Walmart, you get all those little shopping malls that come with a Walmart. You get all those little things that, tourism industry starts happening. You start getting roads. You start getting sports teams to come in. I mean, you start being a legit city. And so Philippi was kind of like that. It was one of those cities that it was very Roman. They wore the latest Roman clothes. They had the best architecture. Everything was columns and beautiful, ornate stuff that you would find in Rome. I mean, they were hip and trendy and young and cool. Everybody had a Facebook account. I mean, it was one of those cities that you just wanted to be in. I mean, it was just a cool, cool city to be in. It was a happening place. There was money to be made in Philippi. It was very diverse. There was a lot of different religions. There were a lot of different ethnicities that lived there. There was a melting pot, much like America is. It's very, very similar to us. And Paul is writing this letter because they were a people who wanted for nothing. They had so much at their disposal. They had everything right at their fingertips, just like we have. And he knew that could be a poison to their soul. Because when I've got everything I need, why do I need God? So this morning I'm going to lead us through the first 11 verses of chapter 1. And so if you got a Bible, go ahead and turn there. And I'm going to pull out three poisons that I think Paul is trying to illuminate them to in these first 11 verses. So before we get that, we'll read the passage, but I did a little research on poison, because that's kind of my angle for this sermon is poison. And so I did a little research on poison, and when I say